This is what I came to Michigan's Upper Peninsula to see. Towering sandstone cliffs, turquoise water, waterfalls, and one of the most scenic shorelines in the Midwest. And for one incredible day, it completely lived up to the hype. But by the next morning, things looked very different. When I had planned this trip, the goal was to spend around a week exploring Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Hi everyone, Buzz here from Buzzing Around the World. I'm in my new car. It's a Subaru Outback. I purchased this car when my old car, Little Blue, unfortunately struck a deer on the way to the family cabin. One of the things I like about this car is that I could car camp in it. It is currently 97 degrees and the low is going to be like 79. That's a little too hot for car camping. So I'm going to get a hotel in Marquette the first night and then we'll do some car camping. Hopefully we'll hit up places like Pictured Rocks, maybe Tequamanon Falls, possibly Houghton, Copper Harbor area, maybe Whitefish Point, possibly all the way up to Sault Ste. Marie. We'll just kind of play it by ear. One of the things I did after arriving in Munising was look for a campsite. Since I'd be out hiking and then on a Pictured Rock sunset cruise until after dark, I wanted to scout out a campsite ahead of time. Hiawatha National Forest has many dispersed campsites that can be used free of charge. These sites are typically not able to be reserved and are first come, first serve. In addition to the campsites, the forest roads have many pull-offs that would be suitable for car camping. So there's definitely a spot right here. That's one. Let's check this one out. This is the second one that's open. There's somebody up here. Having found multiple campsites, it was now time to enter the park and go on a few hikes. After paying the admission fee at the ranger station, I stopped to enjoy a view of Lake Superior at Sandpoint Beach. After leaving Sandpoint Beach, I took a short drive to the path that leads to Miners Falls. It was 6/10 of a mile each way to hike to Miners Falls. During the hike, I took my time and stopped to admire the scenery, including this very unique tree stump. This is the Miners Fall hike. It's about 94 degrees or so. So I'm doing the easiest hikes today. And when it cools down, we'll do the longer hikes tomorrow or the next day. The Miners Fall hike is about 6/10 of a mile each way. A little bit of uphill, but I would say easy enough for beginning hikers. I can hear water. That's always a good sign. After spending a few minutes viewing the falls, I retraced my steps to the parking area. It was then time to head to our next site, Miners Castle. Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore has a mix of paved and dirt roads. The signage is excellent, making it easy to get from one site to another. The Miners Castle area has two viewing platforms, the upper overlook and the lower overlook. Be sure to check out both, as the upper overlook has a beautiful view of Lake Superior, while the lower overlook has the best view of the rock known as Miners Castle. It was a short walk to the lower overlook, less than a quarter mile. Along the way, there are a few more viewpoints. When I arrived, there was a group of people taking photos, so I spent some time admiring this tiny pine tree until it was my turn. Miners Castle is one of the famous viewpoints here at Pictured Rocks National Lake Shore. Actually, it was a great place to get out of the heat. There's kind of a cool breeze coming off of Lake Superior. Gonna stop for a little lunch here, and with the price of pop being so expensive, I have a couple of these 2-gallon Sam's Choice Colas that are only $1. This is the diet version, and I'm pouring it into a McDonald's cup. And then I've got some Italian dry salami, and some keto Hawaiian hamburger buns, and then some omega-3 trail mix. So we'll put the bag in here. So I've got a nice Keto King's Hawaiian roll dry salami sandwich. I go ahead and eat that. After lunch, I made a quick stop at Miners Beach. I made a mental note to return to Miners Beach later in my trip if I wanted to go in the water. Miners Beach was much less crowded than Sandpoint Beach. I enjoyed a few moments walking around the trails near the beach before heading back to my campsite to rest for about an hour before my evening sightseeing cruise. So this is the spot I chose. Hopefully it'll be available in 3 or 4 hours when I get back from my cruise. Might even try some fishing down here if I can get down to the lake. On the way back to Munising for my sightseeing cruise, I stopped at a pull-off to check out Alger Falls. It was then time for what I hoped would be the highlight of my trip, a Sunset Pictured Rocks sightseeing cruise. I arrived about an hour early and was surprised to see there was already a line of people waiting to board. I learned that to get the best seats during peak times, you should arrive at least an hour before departure. After getting some directions from the captain, we had our choice of 2 different boats to board. We left the dock and began our just under 3-hour cruise. The first half of the journey was narrated, with the right side of the boat facing the rocks. On the way back, the left side of the boat would have the best view of the pictured rocks. I chose to sit on the left side of the boat.
The last man to run the old lighthouse was a man named George Pryor.
On our way, we stopped to learn about the Grand Island East Channel Lighthouse. As we exited the channel, we were greeted with our first views of the pictured rocks. One of the first key sites was Miners Castle, an area I had been hiking just a few hours earlier. As we continued, we came across a group of kayakers who were out enjoying the pictured rocks on their kayaks. We also passed the company's catamaran, which offers a faster version of the Pictured Rocks tour. Along the way, the captain identified particular rock formations by name, including the Caves of the Bloody Chiefs. To figure out why the caves have this name, I recommend taking the tour.
The arch is only 3 feet deep.
Some of the best colors are around the area known as Rainbow Cave.
Well, that groundwater does run all year round and creates you. This point sticking out into the lake is called Indian Head Rock.
Over the years, rock collapse has drastically changed the Pictured Rocks scenery. The tall wall of Battleship Rock looks like a battleship docked in the harbor. It is pretty easy to see how the Flower Vase and Indian Drum Rocks get their names. My favorite part of the trip was when the captain expertly drove the boat into Chapel Cove.
This is Chapel Cove.
After passing Chapel Rock, it was time to turn around. I'm going to stay quiet and let you enjoy the journey back.
We'll be cruising down the same shoreline.
After the sightseeing cruise, I returned to my pre-scouted campground and spent the night in my car. I awoke to a much different scene the next morning. Wildfire smoke had rolled in from northern Minnesota and Canada. I had planned to film my car camping in action over the next few nights. The wildfire smoke caused me to change my plans, so I never got any actual footage of my car camping setup. I returned to Pictured Rocks to see how the smoke affected the views. As you can see, the smoke almost entirely obstructed the beautiful scenery I had seen the day before. So what a difference a day makes. I was planning on doing one of the marquee hikes, which is about a 12.5-mile loop today. But as you can see behind me, the Canadian wildfire smoke has rolled in and there's almost no visibility. I was going to do this trip about 2 weeks ago, but temperatures had been so hot in the Upper Peninsula in the upper 90s that I postponed it for a bit. Fast forward to today, the temperature is now cool, but there's so much wildfire smoke that I wouldn't even be able to see the Pictured Rocks if I went on the hike. I'm really glad I did the boat tour yesterday because today they'll probably be canceled because there's nothing to see. Car camping, I didn't get eaten by a bear, so that was good. I definitely need to figure out a little bit of a better setup. It was pretty hot last night with the windows only rolled down about 1.5 inches. I do have screens to keep the bugs out. And then when I woke up, there was some ash on my car from the wildfires. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and call this trip and head home. From a very smoky shores of Lake Superior at Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore, this is Buzz from Buzzing Around the World, wishing you happy travels.